I'm 29 and I made a stupid mistake on a dating app. I matched with a guy named Derek who said he loved desert hiking. We messaged for 2 weeks. He seemed normal, engineer, divorced, talked about his dog. We agreed to meet for a day hike in Anza Borrego. Public place, daytime, separate cars, all the safety rules. The trailhead parking lot was empty when I arrived at 7 a.m. Derek pulled in 5 minutes later in a white truck. He looked like his photos, tall, fit, early 30s. We did the awkward first meeting small talk while gearing up. His equipment was expensive. New, everything matched. The trail led into a canyon, the temperature already climbing. He walked slightly ahead, setting a fast pace. I'm in decent shape, but I was working to keep up. He didn't slow down. 3 miles in, we reached a junction. The main trail continued straight. A fainter path branched left into narrower terrain. He said the left path had better views and asked if I was up for it. I hesitated. He smiled and said we didn't have to, whatever I was comfortable with. That reassurance made me agree. The path got rough immediately. More scrambling, less definition. He moved confidently like he'd been here before. I asked if he had. He said once or twice. We climbed higher. The canyon walls closed in, beautiful but isolated. I hadn't seen another hiker since we started. I checked my phone. 1 bar. I took a photo of the rocks and sent it to my roommate with our location. The message showed sending but didn't deliver. Derek was watching me. He asked if everything was okay. I said yes, just letting someone know where we were. He nodded and said that was smart. The path ended in a box canyon, sheer walls on 3 sides. Derek said this was the view he wanted to show me. It was stunning, red rock, petroglyphs, ancient and untouched. He walked around taking photos, normal tourist behavior. After 10 minutes, I said we should head back. It was getting hot. He agreed immediately, too immediately, like he'd been waiting for me to say it. On the way down, his questions changed. Where exactly did I live? What was my roommate's schedule? Was my apartment ground floor or upper floor? I gave vague answers. He noticed and went quiet. At the junction, he stopped to adjust his boot and told me to keep going. I was glad for the distance. I checked my phone again, still no signal. Then I heard his footsteps behind me, closer than expected. He'd caught up fast. He suggested a snack break. I said I'd rather keep moving. He said we should slow down, enjoy the day. The way he said it felt wrong, like stalling. I walked faster. He matched my pace. He started talking about how isolated these trails were, how people got lost out here all the time, found weeks later, sometimes never found. My heart was pounding, but I kept my voice steady. I said I had plans that afternoon and needed to get back. He asked what plans. I lied and named a restaurant. He said that restaurant had closed 6 months ago. I stopped walking and turned around. Asked him directly if he'd looked me up beyond the app. He smiled and said, of course, doesn't everyone do that? Said it was basic safety. Then he listed my employer, my college, my roommate's name. I told him I was leaving. He said it was dangerous to split up out here. I walked fast toward the trailhead. He followed close. The sun was overhead now, heat pouring down. I was drinking water too quickly. He barely drank at all, even though his pack was full. I tried my phone again. 2 bars. I called my roommate. She answered. I said I was hiking in Anza Borrego and would be home in 2 or 3 hours. Clear location, clear timeline. Derek listened to every word. When I hung up, he said that was good thinking. Then asked if I wanted his number in case we got separated. I already had it. He knew that. We reached the parking lot. Our cars were exactly where we'd left them. He suggested lunch nearby, somewhere he assured me was definitely open. I said I had to go. He didn't leave first, just stood by his truck watching. I got in my car, locked the doors, and drove off. In the mirror, I saw him get into his truck, but not start it. 5 miles down the highway, the white truck appeared behind me. Every turn I took, it followed. When I sped up, it did too. I pulled into a gas station. The truck drove past, then circled back and parked far away. Inside, I told the clerk I thought I was being followed. He told me to call the police. I did. They said unless the person threatened me or blocked my car, there wasn't much they could do. Suggested I drive to a police station. I drove to El Centro. The truck followed for 10 miles, then disappeared. I filed a report. They took Derek's name and number and said they'd note the behavior. The officer told me sometimes people don't realize they're being creepy, but he also told me to document everything. That evening, Derek texted an apology, said he'd overshared, said he'd enjoyed the hike, hoped we could do it again. I blocked him. He texted from a new number. I blocked that, found me on another app, said he wanted closure. 3 days later, my roommate found him parked outside our apartment. She photographed his plate and called the police. He said it was a coincidence. He was visiting a friend. The restraining order took 2 weeks. During that time, I found a bouquet on my car. No note, flowers I'd mentioned liking, and a hiking magazine in my mailbox, dog-eared to an article about solo female hikers staying safe. Margin notes in the same handwriting as his messages. The restraining order was granted for 6 months. That was 4 months ago. I've moved, changed jobs, deleted social media. I haven't hiked since. Last week, my new roommate said someone had asked the building manager about me, an old friend trying to reconnect. Description matched Derek. Police said there was nothing they could do. His dating profile is still active. Same photos. Same bio. The worst part isn't the fear, it's the waiting. I still have the hiking magazine. Sometimes I reread the article. It's about awareness, preparation, trusting your instincts. In the margin next to a paragraph about hiking with strangers, he wrote one note. This is good advice. I'm 32 and I've been hiking the Mojave alone for 6 years. I started after my divorce. Sarah kept the friends. I kept the solitude. There's an unmarked trail system east of the preserve where you never see anyone. That's the point. In late September, I parked at my usual pullout and headed into the canyon. The air smelled like creosote, sharp and dry, mid-80s already. The sun had bleached everything pale. 2 miles in, I noticed boot prints in the sand. Fresh. Deep treads, clear edges, heading exactly where I was going. Every turn I took, they were already there. At the split where I always climb for the view, the prints went up too. That's when I felt it, the small, tight knot in my stomach. The desert was silent except for my footsteps and the click of stones. When you hike alone long enough, you feel pattern breaks. The prints stayed ahead of me, never crossed paths, never hesitated. On the Slick Rock section, someone had rebuilt the cairn I'd made 3 weeks earlier. I'd used a distinctive rock with a white quartz vein on top. Now it was second from the top. Someone had taken it apart and rebuilt it. I stopped breathing for a moment. Then I drank water and kept moving. At my turnaround point, a shallow basin overlooking 3 peaks, there were fresh scuffs near the flat rock where I always ate lunch. A blue bottle cap in the dirt. Same brand I use. On the rock sat a circle of pebbles 6 inches across, 4 larger stones placed at the cardinal points. Careful, intentional, meaningless to me. I left immediately. The prints stayed ahead of me the entire way back. Whoever made them had already gone. At my car, there was a note under the wiper, plain white paper, blue ink, block letters. You always sit on that rock. The lot was empty. I drove home with the doors locked and stayed away for 2 weeks. When I convinced myself it was nothing, just another hiker being strange, I tried a different trailhead. More people, more noise. It didn't help. The whole experience felt contaminated. The following week I went back. Those trails were mine. I wasn't giving them up. The prints were there again. Fresh. Same tread. But a mile in, they diverged off-trail toward a cluster of boulders I'd never explored. The brush was crushed where someone had pushed through. I followed. Behind the rocks was a sheltered hollow, a tarp, a sleeping pad, a backpack, and photographs, 30 of them, spread across the ground and weighted with stones. All of me, hiking, sitting on my rock, drinking water, checking my phone, stretching. Every photo taken from a distance zoomed in. In every one I was alone and unaware. I heard footsteps. A woman stood 10 feet away, mid-40s, sun-damaged skin, worn hiking clothes, empty hands. She looked at me like she'd been expecting me. She said she'd been documenting me for a year and a half. She was worried about my safety. I hiked at dangerous hours, never filed trail plans, took risks. If something happened, no one would know where to look. She kept records so search and rescue would have something to work from. She'd even called the ranger station once. They told her unless I was actively missing, there was nothing they could do. I told her she was stalking me. She looked genuinely confused. Stalking required intent to harm or intimidate. She was protecting me. The photographs were evidence of patterns of risk. I looked at them again. In some, I was closer to cliff edges than I remembered. In others, the shadows were long, too late in the day. She wasn't entirely wrong. She asked if I was having problems, if there was someone she should contact for me. The question was sincere and invasive. I was shaking, not just from fear, but from being seen so completely without permission, and from realizing she might be right. I left without answering. She didn't follow. On the way back, I passed my sitting rock. The pebble circle was gone. A new cairn stood beside it, taller than necessary, almost sculptural. On top sat the quartz vein stone. I haven't been back. I hike other places now, but it feels performative, like I'm being observed even when I'm alone. I think about her out there, documenting the absence where my patterns used to be. What bothers me most isn't that she was watching. It's that I can't say she was wrong. Looking at my schedule from that time, I see someone who wasn't being careful, someone using isolation as a slow form of erasure. She noticed. She kept a record. I kept one of the photographs. It's in my desk drawer, me sitting on that rock facing the 3 peaks. My posture looks thoughtful or empty. I can't remember what I was thinking that day. The woman who took the photo probably knows better than I do. She was paying closer attention.